Hi, I'm Jeannie Thoren with skis.com. I'd like to go a little bit more in depth in the differences between men and women, especially in the hip pelvis area. You'll see from the slide that women's hips are wider on the top, and the bones of the ischium, the ones on the bottom, are also wider apart. On men, their hips are narrower, and the bones of the ischium are also narrower, which is a reason why women have women's bicycle seats, which support the haunch bones, the ischium bones that are wider set apart, and men have a narrower bicycle seat to fit their pelvis. Now, the hips are wider on a woman, but the real main thing in this slide is how the vertebral column comes down. You'll see on men, the vertebral column goes straight down to the floor, their tailbone goes straight down in this little wedge-shaped pelvis. And on women, we're wider hipped, the vertebral column comes down, and L5, the bottom vertebra, sits in a wider, shallower space. So that means that L5, the bottom vertebra on women, can twist and turn. And then if you keep going down the chain, you'll see that the tailbone goes off into the distance with a hole there that's big enough to get a bowling ball through. Except it's not a bowling ball, it's a head attached to arms and legs. And that's the reason why the woman has a wider pelvis than a man does. I'm not trying to change the world, I'm just dealing with the way that we're built differently. On the men's, you can see the vertebral column comes down. In this narrower spot at L5, the bottom vertebra is kind of stuck in that little V shape right there. So that's the reason why guys kind of dance like this, and women dance like this. Because we're looser strung, we have more movement in our pelvis than the men do. And if you look at the slide from the TV show, The Scrub Doctors, you'll see that the woman's pelvis is much tinier than the man's, and the bottom vertebra, L5, sits above the pelvis shape. And on the two men in the picture, the vertebral column comes down, and L5, that bottom vertebra, is stuck in the pelvis right there. And everybody thinks that guys are stronger on their skis because of this and because of this, and it's really not that easy. It's because men are tighter set in their pelvis. So you don't see guys skiing down the hill like this. You know why? Because they can't. So guys don't get that twisting and turning with their bodies as much as the women do. So if the woman is having trouble getting her weight further forward on the ski, the only thing that she can do is to throw her hip to turn her skis. And again, that's how we get to the point where we want to have the bindings move forward on the women's skis to make it easier to get the front of the ski to turn without having to throw her hip. That's a real important point.